Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to another Cosmic Trial guide video. For this particular video we will run through the trial with Nova. Now, he's fantastic to play. This actual video was an absolute joy to do, and the movement he's now got is amazing. He works so well on a controller, and you'll see that later on in the video. But for the purpose of this video anyway, if it's the first one you've watched, what we do is we go through the Cosmic Trial on a freshly leveled level 60 hero. So they won't have a legendary, they'll only have super heroic gear, and this way if you're a new player you can hopefully follow this guide to break into the trial. So first up anyway, we'll look at the talents and skills we would use. First skill we look at then is the main spender, and this is really fantastic. It's called Cascade and Bolt. Now the reason this is so good and it works really well in the Cosmic Trial is the fact that it allows you to cast it whilst moving, which is great, and it actually gets me really excited for the release of Green Goblin, because I imagine he'll use the same mechanic where he can fly about on his glider and throw out all these pumpkin bombs. But back on topic for Nova, that's our main spender. The next skill, which is very important, is a crash down skill. Now, there's a nice amount of damage and weaken and a dot, but primarily I would recommend using this when you need it to restore your Nova shield, because you'll notice that through talents I've got it where it restores 100% of your Nova shield, and we're not really short of damage and explosions with this particular build, so I would save this for when your Nova shield runs down and you need to get it quickly back up again. We then have Nova Dash, which is a dot skill, and this is really good. You zoom through the enemy, leave a dot, do your initial damage packet, and it can be good to supplement the dashes you get normally if you do run out of them. You shouldn't, but it's nice to have the option. We then have the main parts of this build here really that we're firing these off all the time whilst moving, and this would be our pulsars. So the first one we look at, this one we would fire off first to provide vulnerability. We then follow up with our dot that actually slows the enemy as well, and then finally this is our spammable pulsar, which is unstable pulsar. It's got max 3 charges and a low 4-second cooldown, so you'll be firing these off very often. Finally we have the signature, which is Gravimetric Surge. So with this particular one you can actually recast your skills a lot quicker, because you gain a speed bonus, energy bonus, movement speed bonus, and also your powers have no cooldown on them as well. At least your Nova Force powers don't, so you can just fire them off really quickly, so it is really quite useful. What we'll do next anyway is we'll check out the talents. Once we've done that we'll then run through the Cosmic Trial, but let's have a look at the talents. For the first talent line we choose Cosmic Shockwave. Now this one, it buffs your movement power damage, and when you use a movement power 3 times you get an explosion. It's not massively useful for a build, but it's more useful than the other 2 talent options that are available, because this one here, it buffs Nova Beam, which we're not using. Another one buffs your melee powers, which we don't want to be getting within melee contact of the enemies. The next talent we have is Pulsar Cascade. So when you detonate a pulsar with a power, you restore 60% of the pulsar's cost, and this is really useful because he can be a bit spirit hungry, or I should say Nova Force hungry. Reason for that is we're always firing off all these skills all the time. You also gain a buff to pulsar power damage, which is nice. We then have Pulsar Field. So when you use a pulsar power you fire a second pulsar of the same type at a nearby random location. So this is pretty good. Sometimes it won't fire off in the right location, but when it does it's a nice little bonus. We then have Pulsar Proximity Control. I like this one because it makes the build very simple. So pulsars now detonate instantly. You just fire them off and they'll blow up straight away, and they do count as detonating a pulsar with a power. So for this particular talent here, that would still gain the buff from that, so that's quite important. Finally we have Star Shield. So with this your maximum Nova shield is doubled, and Fallen Star restores 100% of your Nova shield. So from a defense perspective this is a really powerful and useful skill, and also we gain a buff to Nova Dash. We gain 3 charges on it and a 75% damage increase as well. That's really pretty useful. So what we'll do now anyway, we'll run through this trial. Once we've beaten it we'll then show off the gear that I've used as well.
No can do.
My word, Richard. Total destruction reaching undesirable levels.
I am all powerful.
Mandarin derives power from his alien rings.
Beg for mercy.
Still charging up for that. Just give me a second. Thought I saw it move.
So many ways to hurt you.
Obstacle destroyed. Should we really be doing this, Richard?
This cannot be.
You thought those rings were a match for Nova Prime? Please. I really could do this all day. No can do.
Die, subhuman fool!
There are more sentient things to punch.
Unable to tap into Nova Force.
Dr. Zola has given me additional resources.
There we go, that's another one done, and that was a whole lot of fun. You can see the amount of movement he has that I mentioned earlier in the video is really incredible, and it really does make him pretty unique and a whole lot of fun to play. Gear wise, as you can see, we don't have a legendary, we just have regular enough artifacts. Actually we have the story mode ones, and for our slot 1 to 5 we're merely using super heroic gear there, and we passed it easy enough. So hope this was useful. Any questions feel free to ask, and I'll see you all again soon.